Thanks for joining us. So, Nkechi Blessing Sunday is a Nigerian actress, film producer, director, screenwriter, and brand ambassador. Her first production was Omogeleki in 2015, and a movie that won the Maya Awards, and she was nominated for the Revelation of the Year at the Best of Nollywood Awards. She's also the director and CEO of Nkechi Films Production and the NBS Foundation. Please welcome with us Nkechi Blessing Building. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Good to have you.
Thank you so much.
I didn't have a cold, so we'll not stress you too much. So let us start. We saw this video that was quite disturbing on social media about a 12-year-old child that practically run down the mother's house because she seized his phone. We saw that on social media, and we just thought to ourselves, what's going on here? I'm not sure if our producer will be able to show that video for us. It'd be nice for those of you out there to see the clip. But if not, we'll discuss about it. But we've all seen the clip. And the house was practically run down. You know, they smashed the screens.
Everything.
The furniture was pulled down. And it was heartbreaking because when I was watching that video, and I could hear the mother crying, weeping. And I was saying to myself, this is why she's not crying because of the destroyed goods. She's just crying that this is my child. This is somebody I had raised. And you're having to deal with this. What came to your mind when you watched that video? And how do you think, what lessons do you think we can learn? Because we are also still raising these kids. As Nima always says, we've not gotten our report card.
No. Yeah, so...
To tell you, all the things you are speaking, you never get your report card until these children are now grown. Like I say, yes, I raised a good child. But as they are still growing, we never get. So how do we avoid this situation that we're about to see? Let me talk to you, Mariam, first.
Okay, first, my immediate thought was, okay, maybe this is a child that has been raised wrong, that didn't get enough parenting. But that would just be very basic of me because I have seen situations where parents have raised 3 to 5 children in a household and one child has anger issues and things like that. And conversations about mental health is conversations we do not have enough when we're talking about parenting. Unless, if this is just a bad parenting situation, she's 12 years old, there's hope, you know, and she has to make sure she's more involved and participates in his life better. But then if it's about, about participating in his life better, but also about the fact that there's this parenting of just allowing our children have anything, be anything, get away with anything. We indulge them, they do, you know, can get away with anything. We don't speak to them a certain way. We don't really reprimand them when they do something wrong. We don't punish them, you know, for what they have done wrong. There are no consequences for bad behavior that can bring about this. But there's also this thing about mental health that you see children like this exhibit it. The parent is hardworking, the parent is involved, the other siblings seem to be well adjusted, but this particular child. So in that case, you find a mother who is really, you know, praying.
Let me come to
Nigerian parents go to church.
Before I come to Nkechi, because you see, you're a coach, and you and your colleagues in the coaching industry say, don't beat your children. Don't beat your children. Talk to them. You must talk to them. And we are all, and we've all adopted it somehow. I mean, I've tried to adopt those spank, but I know I still spank. But I have seen my friends and family members try to totally adhere to that. Don't beat your child. Talk to the children. Is this what you get when you...
I don't understand. What we say is do not traumatize. So the punishment you want to give, to what end? Is it for correction? If it's for correction, you need to observe the child and pattern the correction to what suits that child. Every child is different. There are children you cannot touch. Once you just talk to them, they are already crying and repentant. You don't need to start beating that child. There are children that they must see belt on the table, even if you don't use it, to reset their head. You just have to observe. We're not saying do not beat and allow your children to do things without consequences. That's not what life coaches are saying. What we are saying is you need to be sure that you are correcting and not further damaging that child. You need to pay attention to the emotional well-being of your child, even in the midst of punishment. So the punishment should not be so corporal that it now further damages the child you're trying to heal. So you need to, you know, pick that hustle. But this case, you're not serious. This particular case, even if it's an issue of mental health, and I like where Miriam started from, because we don't pay attention. We always feel, their children, what do they know? A child cannot be depressed, I'm raising teenagers, and I'm seeing some things, and I'm like, who would have said? Who would have told me? I'm seeing patterns, and I'm like, whoa. And because I'm paying attention, I'm quickly addressing it with their father. We're working together, me and their father. We are, the Sermon on the Mount in my house is not beans. He will give 30 minutes. I will follow with another 20 minutes and follow with affirmations and follow because I'm paying attention. If I had said, well, they are too young to have issues of this and issues of that, and I just move on, give them everything they want and throw away my face and face my business, it will get to an age where you cannot control. So this particular child did not start today. This child has been exhibiting some character that was ignored. Because depending on the children, there are some children that naturally come with anger issues, depending on the sort of trauma the parents may have gone through during pregnancy. We pick up all of these energies, and they come with that. But a deliberate parent will notice that, why does this child get so upset and damage his toys? We need to start working on that. This is not the first time. So this cry we're crying now is not the cry
Let me pause you for a second,
crying.
because I want to hear Nkechi's thoughts on this, because I really want that video to show on TV, because people need to understand what we're talking about here. Nkechi, what are your thoughts when you watch that video?
You know, like I said, I asked earlier if that was in Nigeria. Because if it were to be in Nigeria, and I am the mother to that child,
tell us.
Hey, I will beat that child, though. Hey, because that is properties worth millions that you just destroyed. And like she said, these things don't start now. You know, these children, they exhibit these characters from small. So a parent is supposed to be in the life of their children, you know, watch them closely, you know, get involved. Because I don't know if it's because of the fact that they are in America or outside the country, that's why this is happening. But guess what? It happens here too.
Yes.
But it depends on the involvement of a parent with her children. Because how can a 12-year-old wake up and decide to destroy properties worth millions because of a phone?
Calm down.
No, it's not possible.
But see, listen, guys, I get the anger we feel, but you see, 12-year-old. She's a child.
I know.
He's not a child again.
Not a baby.
12-year-old is a child.
Yes,
but it's a child with sense.
A child with sense.
Yeah. But you know,
at least he knows his left to his right. He knew what he was doing. He's not, I don't understand.
So from the age of 8, according to science and some other sciences, underneath sciences and studies, a child stops being a child from the age of 8. We, the parents, are the ones looking at them as children. But a child knows what he or she is. They know what they do when you're not there.
Exactly.
They are at the age of accountability. So my father's church, I always mention this church because I learned quite a lot, you know, growing up in that church. The baptism starts at the age of 8 because that's the age of accountability where you're able to tell, should I be baptized or not? Should I give my life to Christ or not? You can make that decision. That's a very huge decision that you can live with a child of about 8. To tell you that a child of 8 knows wrong or right. At that age, you can decipher this is wrong and this is right. So don't tell me even me, I'm a child now. Am I not a child of God? I'm still a child. You should know not to put your hand inside fire at that age, or you will get burnt. You know that destroying a property is going to affect your mother and your father, and you went ahead and did it because you could not control your emotion. So the matter here is the child obviously have been having emotional issues that the parents had not paid attention to. And this is a major cry for help from that young boy. That, mommy, daddy, you need to pay attention to me. So let them put aside the fact that they've destroyed properties worth of millions. We can always recover that by the grace of God. And pay serious attention to this child. This child is crying out for serious help. He needs to see a therapist at the moment. So there's
an angle to that story. Somebody was saying in part of the comments that there was a rebuttal from the poster saying that actually the child is a 15-year-old who has mental issues, which is what you alluded to. He went off his meds and had a breakdown. So there are different scenarios. So it could have been mental issues, medical breakdown, and it could have been a child who is totally unruly and does that. So there are different scenarios, but at the end of the day, they're still children. Yeah. And something has happened, and adults have a role to play in this. How do we avoid this kind of situation? That's the conversation when we come back after the break. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. So the update to the story we're taking, hopefully our producer will show you the video very soon, is that the mother of this child did a video saying that her child is 15 years old, he's about 6 feet tall, saying that she can't spank him, and the fact that he has mental issues. And more importantly, she was betrayed by her friend who released the video to the public. So these don't get two legs now. So we have a 15-year-old child who can be smacked. Now, during the break, Nkechi and B0y were saying that you can still spank. I'm not sure if I was...
You can beat Chris out of his head.
At 15.
Yes.
15 is
he's
6 feet.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They go carry boys, they go tie a rope, bundle them, flog them where you go. In factory,
you go reset.
My mother, may God rest her soul, she beats me reach 20-something years old.
Because you know the year word.
Because I know the year word. In case she too stubborn, don't be fluke, narrate. She go tie bell, she go say, na me born you, na me go kill you.
Yes. But therapists will say that doesn't work in today's time.
It works because if not,
Nkechi, did it work for you? Because you still Chris today.
No.
Yeah, but it reduced small.
It reduced small.
But Chris pass like that.
You get it.
Now you say your Chris, get left.
Yeah, go ahead.
The thing is, I had an auntie who was raising 2 boys at the time. And they were, this teenager stuff. These ones did not have mental issues. They were just being teenagers at the time.
Did you take them to therapy to
I don't know, but it wasn't this bad. Yeah. That's why I'm assuming they didn't have mental issues. And she would wear her shorts. Nika, they call them for pigeon. Wear her shorts, wear trainers, come out with pistol. I am your mother. Even if you are taller than me, you will obey me in this house or pack your things and go. And in fact, she went to their schools, embarrassed them. The first time she went to the school, she stood, because they are fine boys now. They have girlfriends that like them, people that are looking at them and all that. She stood in front of the school and was screaming the boy's name. This is what he's doing in the house. Oh, the boy was, Mommy, please, they're embarrassing me. That changed that particular behavior at the time. So I'm not advocating that you beat. But before you get to 15, 16, 17, what did you do at 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? These behaviors don't just come, one day. It starts. Children do what they call testing. They test boundaries. They test you. I remember when I was raising my little daughter, and then they were teaching. I just started doing child psychology at the time in Montessori. And I learned, the very first time I learned about this testing thing. And I was potty training her at the time. So this particular day, we had dressed up going to school. I was in a hurry. She was set. She had had a breakfast and everything. And she just pulled in her diaper. She was 2+ at the time. This babe knows that she has one fresh diaper. And she's already potty trained. And she could speak at the time clearly. I would hear Kosiso clear. And she was looking at me because she knew what she did.
Reaction.
I cleaned it the first time. After 3 days, after she was dressed, she did the poo. And she was looking at me when I finished with her. That was the end of that poo. If I had let it go because she's a child, she's just 2+ and all that, she's testing that boundary. She wins there, and she moves on to test something else.
Boundaries.
Okay.
Let me take this call from Alaji Kari from Shogunle. Come on, Alaji, are you there? Alaji, you're live. Go ahead, please.
Okay. Please, I want you to help us with your...
Hello? Oh, you wanted to tell us something. Yeah. Sorry, but yes, let me come to you.
So I know that patterns you can see from a child growing up, but also we have heard of when children get to adolescence and how sometimes there's almost a switch in personality, and that the hormones and everything that they're going through affects them somewhat, and that is where you have to pay attention. And also that is when, I guess for a lot of people who have mental issues, that is when you see it more visibly, because a lot of things you excuse and think that because they're children, but as a teenage child, then you take it. So it's important that we tell that as parents we're aware of these differences and when they can occur. And yes, children will test boundaries. It's normal. Everybody will do it, even with our regular relationship, we test boundaries. But when it comes to mental health, I want us to pay attention to mental health issues, especially as a society and a community in Nigeria. We don't accord it the importance that it deserves. We have over-traumatized children because we just see them as bad children, children that just do not want to listen, and really proper therapy and proper treatment would have gotten you a better result from that child than just beating the child continuously. I say this because I have physical, examples of children I know would have done better if they had gotten the help that they needed at the time. So they found themselves as adults now trying to adjust and now seeking therapy for themselves. So as parents, we need to put that into consideration.
I get that, Mary. You're very correct, because the truth is that mental health is relative.
It is.
What is mental? The mother speaking, she's not a Nigerian. Mental health to her could mean different things to us. What is mental health to her could just be somebody, a child who is constantly upset or something, has mood swings. In Nigeria, they snap it out of you. They slap it out of you. But it's still mental health. But in Nigeria's society, like, what, are you okay? Are you having mood swings?
So they slap it, but do they slap it out of you? So or do they slap it deep inside you and then it comes out in another way?
So when they slap it out of you, in their own thinking, they slap it out of you. But what you're saying is that it actually goes deeper inside. So there are different ways of looking at it. So we shouldn't belittle the importance of mental health in this fact, and we should consider that in this conversation. However, when a child is completely and totally unruly, is what we want to address. How does a parent, when you see your child do that kind of thing, spanking might not be the right thing. What's the right thing, B0y?
So,
should I come to you, Nkechi? What's the right? So you've come home and you've seen that. What would you do to them? What would you do to help that child?
I don't know. Like she said, like for me, I have a 3-year-old boy. Yeah. And trust me, most times he tries to act funny. And before my mom died, she never allowed us beat him. Yeah. Yes, because she's always like, that's my ego, stuff like that. But when she left us with him, we needed to train him the proper Nigerian way. My younger sister would not want to beat him, but when I'm there, no. Me too, I almost adapted my mom's, but my younger sister is like, no. Auntie Nkechi, we need to beat him so that he doesn't do that again. Not like beating. Like we talk to him, to spank him. Yeah. Elijah, stop it. And trust me, he won't go back to doing those things. Just like when she said about her daughter, pooing on her. Now Elijah can go to my toilet himself and, help himself. He doesn't wear diaper no more.
Let me talk about the father figure here for a second, because I get upset when my husband brings that father thing away. He's shouting, stop shouting at these kids. But I used to get upset with him because his presence alone was fear. Those kids, when they hear daddy's coming, they adjust. True. I used to get upset. Like, must you traumatize these kids? But now, my first is 10, 8. I see that it has reframed them. So when they get to a certain age, I'll stop shouting at them. But that shouting is important now. Yeah. So that our brain can know that this is what you do. So if I tell them that daddy is coming, their brain resets. Yeah. Even the little one, once he hears daddy's voice, he will beg you, please, don't tell daddy. So sometimes you think, that thing...
So, you see that father figure is very important. I know a lot of times because we have single parenting, and it happens for many reasons, not because most people want to be single parents, but it has an effect. I was raised by, my mom was a widow for a few years, and I would say that I see the difference in my own children having 2 parents. My husband doesn't need to talk. He just needs to be around. Yeah, he just only have to have the threat of him going to be around before, but I have to explain, I have to call, I have to persuade, I have to remind, before they listen to me. I'd say they've seen me finish, but their dad, all you have to say is he will hear about it. And so that's why in the family you need both figures present, because it is hard on single parents to be able to do both for a child. And it shows.
I'll come to you, B0y. Let me take John and I'll come back to you, B0y. Good morning, are you there? Hello? Good morning, John, are you there? Sorry, I lost that call. Yes, please.
So it's very important that we have both parents. One must play bad cop and good cop to give that balance. While I am the one that if mommy comes and sees this place like this, everybody adjusts.
Yeah, the bad cop.
Yes, they are closer to my husband because he would use English, grammar, dictionary to explain himself. He wastes a lot of time. I just have to look at that child and you know that you have to behave yourself because I don't have the strength for too much talk. I use my hands, I use as it comes, you know, but I'm toning down on that now with studies and knowledge and everything because I also realized that the violence did not work for me as a person, you know, but there's also something we forget, and that is called modeling. What do your children see you do?
Right.
When you have a quarrel with your husband and you destroy TV, you smash cup, you throw stone, you throw everything away in the house, you scatter, you throw your clothes, you shout, you scream, you jump. These kids are absorbing it. They have absorbent minds. They may not react immediately, but it's deep and encoded in their DNA.
So when I'm angry, I also...
Yes. And then you see them with their friends in school. They're upset. They're using their hands. They're upset. They are throwing things. They are damaging their school bag. And you feel, don't worry, he will outgrow it.
Okay, that's the
following
video.
That child.
Our producers have finally gotten the video.
Yes.
That's the video.
Till they become adults. So as a parent, you have to be responsible to how you act all the time. I wouldn't say just when your children are there, because we need to become better human beings. So do you use your words to express that anger and, you know, communicate? Or do you calm down? Like me, when I'm upset in the house, I keep quiet because I wouldn't want to say something in front of my children that I will regret. So I just keep quiet and, you know, excuse myself till I'm better calm to handle that conversation. Being a parent is not being so. If they had told us, I for not even bother. Because I am consistently retraining, relearning, and taking care of myself in such a way that I can be the best with the little resources that I have available to me.
Take this call from Mark.
I'm still making mistakes.
Mark, are you there? It's going to have a final call up because I'm going to wrap up on this. Mark, are you there?
Yeah, hello, Auntie Morayo. Good morning.
Go ahead, please. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, ladies in the house.
Good morning.
I just saw the video now, and it's quite unfortunate that I keep saying this, from the day we started faulting the way our parents raised us, that was the day we started having issues. Children are like bitter leaf. If you wash them well, it becomes sweet when you add it later on. So I can't even imagine myself having my child do this kind of thing. My presence in my home as the father puts everybody in check. They know what to do at the right time. I don't subscribe to this recent modern way of raising children. The same way I was raised is how I'm raising my kids. I know what to do at the right time. I know most times when I beat my daughter, there was a time she messed up in school. I got to school, I got a report, I came back home. Thank God enough, the mom wasn't at home that day. I dealt with her. The next day, she was telling me when she was ready to go to school, she showed me her hand. She said, Daddy, look at what you did to me. I said, when you go to school, show it to your teacher. Tell your teacher that your dad did this to you. I don't want anyone to pamper my children for me.
Thank you very much, Mark. I have an issue with that. Okay, so let me come to you. Because as much as I appreciate that, let's raise our kids the way we were raised. But therapists tell you that we should learn from it. Because, for example, my husband recently, we had a serious fight. I mean, I was really upset with him. He was insisting that he must bath with cold water. And I'm thinking to myself, why? We have heater. They are sleeping in air conditioner. A child wakes up in air conditioner. The room is already cold. You now tell that child to not enter cold shower. Come on. And that's wickedness of the order. He said, no, it was the cold water. Can't you see, Mama? Mama never used hot water. See, she's 96 years old. She's walking around. I'm like, what is Mama? With all due respect, you can't compare Mama to my child. I bathed with warm water all my life. He's like, but you're not strong. And you know, you're not strong. Can't you see me? I'm strong. You're not strong. Can you compare you to me? And I'm thinking,
wow.
I'm not strong.
Cold water, and I get where he's coming from.
But I'm saying, so you know, when you say how I was raised, with all due respect, times have changed. Yeah. So must we have this how I was raised thing with our children?
If it has worked for you.
I don't know. Okay, now this takes me to, let me just say the story of my ex saying I don't wear panties. My mom, may God rest her soul. I wish she was alive when all this happened. Like I said, I stopped wearing panties when I was 18. And this was because each time I wear panties while I was growing up, I just take it out and throw it out anywhere. She has warned me the first time, I did not listen. She did the second time, I did not listen. So on the third time, this was what she did. Everybody that knows my mom knows she has a very big beer parlor in Abulegba, right? So she took one of my dirty panties one day and hung it in front of her shop. Yes. So every customer that was coming into the shop that day, she was showing them, "Na Nkechi pants be that. Na Nkechi pants be that." Nkechi part with that was the most embarrassing moment of my life. And there and then, I decided within myself that I was never going to wear panties again.
So there will be no evidence to even use.
To hang in front of
you understand? So that was why when I saw what my ex said, I cried all through that day and said, God, but you know the agreements with me and you get while I was 18. So that was one that actually touched me. I'm like, oh, I wish it was true. But I cried because you know within yourself that I don't even wear panties. So why would you now use that as because you wanted to shame me, to make people see me as... And since then, a lot of people, when they want to insult me, they'll be like, go and wash your dirty panties. That I was literally crying. And I called my younger sister and I said, oh, I wish my mother was alive. I would tell her to sit down and tell them what she did to me when I was 18. You understand? You get it?
So for you, you've learned from that?
Yes.
You would not do that
I would not do that again.
To your child?
Sort of
to my child.
traumatized you.
Yes, it did.
You've opened us into the world of Nkechi Blessing, which we are hoping to do. So we're going to go into this no wearing panties lady in a moment. But to wrap up our previous conversation, the point is that, listen, I would always say that nobody knows it. We are all working in progress. Yeah. And as Nima said, we've not gotten our report card. So every day you learn, relearn, and unlearn. Yeah. And you try to continue to be the best you can and hope that you have enough support. So when you're going wrong, somebody can say, Nima, this is how to talk about, this is how you do it. You can adjust each other and help each other. Have a support system to help you, that you can always bounce ideas off and, to help you out. But at the end of the day, you and your child can have a good relationship if you pay attention. That's all we can take on this segment. When we come back, let's discuss the no wearing panties lady. We'll be right back.